Hello and welcome to the full-time Hangout Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. It's good to be back. We haven't done one of these in a while. I'm joined here with Rayhan. And Rayhan, 6 inches to the left. And this conversation is completely different. What an ending to that match.
Yeah, absolutely. I was really on the edge of my seat there, as I think we all were. That could have been almost a disaster. I think the fans would have been really upset had it gone the other way. As you say, 6 inches away from a disaster. So, I think we have to consider ourselves lucky for today. Obviously, we played very well in the first half, but the second half performance, I wouldn't say it was disappointing, but we looked a bit jaded. We let Palace control the game a lot. They really dictated the course of events in that second half. So, yeah, we're really, really lucky today to escape with the 3 points.
And throughout the match, it just didn't feel like Arsenal had their foot on the gas pedal full throttle. Um, both our goals were kind of gifted to us, mistakes off Palace's part, especially the second goal with Giroud. But looking at the positives, I thought Mesut Ozil had a fantastic match today. I thought he was our man of the match. He's really getting into his own now. He's got stretch of games coming back from injury, and it's really good to see him performing at a high world-class standard. What other players from Arsenal do you think had a good match today?
Well, obviously, Olivier Giroud getting his 50th Arsenal goal today is a huge milestone for him. I must admit, a year ago I was heavily critical of Giroud, but he's definitely changed my opinion of him. I have a lot of respect for Giroud now. Let's see. Monreal was solid today. Koscielny, the usual. Coquelin was good. It's a shame he got that yellow card earlier on in the game, because then he couldn't be quite as aggressive as he normally would be for the remainder. Um, Sanchez, I think he's not quite wasn't quite at his best today. He could have been a bit better, but then again, he's coming back from an injury. Let's see. Sorry.
Monreal had a shaky start, in my opinion, but he kind of grew into the game.
Yeah.
One player that I wasn't very impressed with was Callum Chambers. I thought he was getting burnt down the wing a couple times, especially in that second half by Balassi. But I'm glad you brought up Coquelin. He really has added a different dimension to our team, giving us that security blanket on top of that back four. He's really made a huge difference.
Yeah, without a doubt. And also with today's result, getting the 3 points today is absolutely pivotal because Man United dropped points. They lost to Swansea and Chelsea drew with Burnley. So that allows us to climb up the table a little bit. Hopefully Southampton will lose today. And
Man City, Tottenham as well. It'd be a great weekend if all of them can drop points. Going forward, obviously we have that hugely important midweek clash against Monaco, Rayhan. What do you want to see from us? I believe it's at the Emirates. What do you want to see from the squad going into that game? Because I think it's absolutely pivotal we keep that clean sheet, make sure that they get no away goals. I want to see a strong lineup. I want to see Giroud up top, Mesut Ozil in the middle, Sanchez one wing. I want to see Theo on the other wing, and then Coquelin and Santi in the pivot. I think if we go out that lineup, the Emirates will be raring to go. Will be very positive, and we can just blow Monaco away with that lineup. What do you want to see going into that match?
Well, going into that one and sort of pushing off of this one, I think we need to tighten up our defensive display going into the second half. Like, say we do get a convincing lead in the first half, we shouldn't take our foot off the gas like we did today. We shouldn't allow Monaco to dictate the game like we allowed Palace to do today. So we need to watch out for that. Honestly, I think we're capable of much more than what we displayed today. But going into the Monaco game, I'd probably stick with the same lineup. Maybe replace Welbeck with Theo for a more positive attacking play. Although Welbeck, to be fair, he had a hand in both of our goals today. So.
Yeah, Welbeck. I thought Welbeck was pretty good today as well.
Yeah.
He has a unique combination of size, strength, and skill that not many players have. He is almost as big as Giroud, and he does have way more speed and maybe not as much technique as Giroud, but definitely a little more skill, that the ability to get past a defender. And I think, but if you compare him to Theo Walcott, maybe on that right-hand side, I'd probably go with Theo. If it's a 4-4-2 formation, definitely go with Welbeck, but out wide, I think you got to give Theo a chance. especially not appearing in the match today. I think he'll be ready to go. What do you think of Arsene Wenger's substitutions today? He did a very Arsene Wenger substitution where he brings on a left back to play left wing. Whenever he's trying to shut a game down, that's almost an automatic substitution from him, either bringing on Gibbs or Monreal. He brought on Gibbs today, also Thomas Rosicky, and then Gabriel with that last substitution. What do you think about the pattern of the substitutions today, Rayhan?
Yeah, well, obviously Palace were applying so much pressure on us, so we had to sort of soak it up. It wasn't realistic to go out there go all gung-ho and try and get a third goal, especially in the last 10, 15 minutes of the game. So I think I respect Arsene Wenger's decision. I mean, we basically had all our defenders out there on the pitch at once.
Yeah.
Taking off Welbeck and eventually Giroud, and so yeah, that was interesting. And then I guess it was good for Gabriel to get a showing as well. That was good for him. But
literally 90 seconds of madness. Like we let in a goal, and at first, unfortunately in Canada we didn't get the game on TV. And when I was telling Ryan, when I was watching my stream, it just looked like Ospina just came out and caught the cross. But then on the replay, I saw it came off the post. That was extremely, extremely close. Literally a couple of inches, and our weekend is ruined. We dropped 2 points away from Palace. Everything was going smoothly. We really need to tighten up in these games. We're used to seeing Arsenal hold on to a 1-goal lead against lower level opposition, but today we were up 2 goals in the 93rd minute. That should be an automatic win. Like 99% of the time you're coming out with a win from that situation, and it was nearly that 1% today, Ryan. What can we change for making sure that doesn't happen in the future?
Well, to be honest, and to be fair to Palace, they really brought the game to us in the second half. I don't think it's so much of Arsenal sort of crumbling. I wouldn't say it was a crumble or a collapse, but Palace were going all out to try and get that first or second goal to draw the game.
Yeah. I was really impressed with Yannick Bolasie on that left wing. He was just terrorizing Callum Chambers. I like the substitution of Thomas Rosicky. Usually he brings a lot of energy to the pitch. Didn't really see as much as I would have liked from him in that second half, but I do like the substitution, bringing on a little more a veteran leader like Rosicky. I want to see a little more from Mertesacker. I didn't think Mertesacker had the greatest of games today, usually up to his standards. Same with Koscielny. We just didn't look very sure at the back. We got those 2 early goals, 2 goals in the first half, and we just kind of were on cruise control. And especially going into that match against Monaco, where it is the first leg, basically the first 45 minutes of, say, a cup tie, we can't take our foot off the gas pedal in that second half. If you think about it, that's just the end of the first 45 if it's a regular game being 2 legs. And we really got to string together a solid 90 minutes, because that's the problem with the team this year. You show glimpses of brilliance, just like Mesut Ozil today, flicking it over a defender and then playing Sanchez through. But we can't bring it all together, get that finish, or put a full 90 minutes together. And speaking about our 2 world-class players, Ryan, one's kind of on the rise and one's kind of falling right now. Mesut Ozil's his game's coming together, and Alexis Sanchez, he isn't keeping up his form from the first half of the season. What do you want to see from our two world-class superstars in the last 2 years from our signings?
Well, I mean, to start with Ozil, I'm very impressed with how he's come back from his injury. He's improved. He's recognized where his weaknesses were last season, and he's really building on that in terms of strength and I guess holding the ball more closely, and he's just playing his way. He's slowing down the pace of the game to make those crucial passes. His vision is there, and we're making use of that, which is great. Sanchez is tapering off a little bit. I'm not going to say he's been playing poorly. He hasn't, and he's worked really, really hard this season. I think a lot of it has to do with fatigue, maybe, or exhaustion, because we've used him so much. I mean, week in, week out, he always wants to play, and I mean, eventually energy has to sort of dissipate. But I think to get the most out of Sanchez, we maybe have to rest him here and there in the games where we don't really need him to be in. I'm talking against like the lower opposition. I mean, it's worth
Like,
saving Sanchez for the crucial games because the next few months, as they say, it's the business end of the season. We got the FA Cup coming up, Champions League, and that race for the top four. So we got to use him wisely because I think he is slowing down a bit.
I do agree with you in a sense that for a Premier League game, I always want to see him there. But maybe when we're going against a Middlesbrough or something like that, where other players can definitely get the job done as much as him, why don't we give him a rest and save him for the Premier League and the Champions League matches? That, with all due respect to the FA Cup, it's fantastic. We got to go on and win that, but other players can get the job done on that wing. Maybe save him for the big matches and maybe
Well, the
reach.
big is Man United though in the FA Cup. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than that.
Oh, I know. I was actually excited with that draw. We were gonna have to play one of the big teams sooner or later. The only thing that I don't like about it is that being at Old Trafford. I was hoping maybe if we play one of the bigger sides, it'd be at home or at a neutral location like Wembley in the semifinals or in that final. But it's a good game for Arsenal to prove themselves, kind of like what we did against Man City in the Premier League. We kind of proved ourselves that we're back in that top four race and kind of solidifying a spot there. Maybe we can go out back to Manchester and really show that we can win the FA Cup this year. I was really excited to see that. What else? It's weird to think about. Just a couple inches and our weekend's completely different, but it's nice hearing all the results from the other games. Chelsea drawing 1-1. United losing to Swansea. It's a good weekend for the Arsenal. No injuries. It seems like that's always a positive that you can't always say for Arsenal. Gabriel got a little more time. Back four. I want to see just more security from the back four. I wasn't completely sure with them today, and that includes Ospina. Although I thought he had a good match, his hands were pretty sure. But just any last words, Ryan, to summarize the game today?
Sure, yeah. To sum up, I'd say it wasn't a convincing performance, but we're very, very lucky to get those 3 points, especially with the other big teams dropping points this weekend. So it's a good weekend for the Arsenal, but it was this close.
It could have been a lot worse, yeah. Game of the inches for sure. Thanks for joining us for the full-time hangout today, Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. It's very important that we go on, play the full 90 minutes against Monaco, because say we're up 2-0 going into in the 80th, 90th minute, we need to keep that 2-0 and make sure that they don't get an important away goal and keep it 2-1. Like we did today, maybe we can learn from the result today and keep that clean sheet going forward, because 2-1 is different in a two-leg Champions League match compared to a one-game Premier League game. Thanks for joining us today, Arsenal versus Crystal Palace. We'll be back midweek for the game against Monaco. Up the Arsenal!